this video, I'm going to show you why following up and following through will build teams that build teams without you and explosive income. Hey, aloha, Mark J, world's laziest networker, coming to you from our backyard here in beautiful Kauai, Hawaii. By the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get all 6 parts of the Simple 6. And make sure you hit the little bell too. Hey, aloha, Mark J, world's laziest networker, coming to you from our backyard here in beautiful Kauai, Hawaii. And it's been a great 6 weeks, hasn't it? We're on to part 6 of the Simple 6. And if this is your first time here, we're talking about the fact that since network marketing companies don't have standardized training, and everybody knows at this point, duplication without standardization is a fairy tale, which means you have to create a culture on your team, which we've also discussed, and Davine and I were very proud of being called a cult, because all a cult is a culture that intimidates people. And we loved intimidating other leaders, since leaders can't seem to agree on 5, 6 simple things that run the business. We created our own system based on 2 magnificent books, The Success System That Never Fails, largest sales force in history, based on principles. And that is actually the book that helped Napoleon Hill go from laboring in obscurity. He met W. Clement Stone. Stone made Hill a household word. W. Clement Stone trained me. So I'm truly a dinosaur. There's very few of us left. And you get the benefit of that. Isn't that cool? So we've talked about the mindset is how you recruit. And of course, about half the people that were following along with us decided, oh, he's not telling me how to get free leads and get people in. Well, they're going to continue to suffer. And those of you that are still here, like Fred now, and Joanne has joined us, and Harry's left a few comments, which is really great. Darnell and John encouraged us to talk more about inviting, and we did that in recruiting. But the mindset is purpose, attitude, a written plan expressed in continuous action, 80% of your time on the main thing. You want to fuse together, this is fusion, retailing and recruiting, because the great network marketers are not necessarily great presenters, great closers, great people, great coaches, great teachers. What they're all really great at, I'm not talking about the loudmouths, I'm talking about the people that actually built and sustained an organization that they could walk away from and just cash checks like Dave and I did from 5 different companies by 2010. Is they built a system around skills and vitalized it by teaching those skills hands-on. And the skills are retail and recruiting. But what the great ones have in common is leverage. So these are the methods, right? So it's mindset first, and then methods. And the reason I say mindset first is Emerson. What did Emerson say? Well, he said the same thing that Jesus said in different words. Jesus said, according to your faith be it unto you, and Emerson said, the ancestor of everything is thought. Your life is actually a perfect outpicturing of what you actually believe in your mind. So by raising the self-worth in your teammates through the Simple 6, you're going to raise their performance and raise their checks. Their checks are preset before they even sign up. So that's the mindset. So we got people in the business, and the ones we didn't get in the business, we sold them products. So we're driving 9 times the volume of the average organization. We're bringing people in. We don't need a lot of people if we know how to follow up and follow through. So the biggest lie in network marks is you just have to find the right people. The second one is the fortune is in the follow-up, okay? This isn't true, and I'm not trying to split hairs here. Following up is setting the appointment and showing up. Following through, okay, this is the action that needs to be taken at the follow-up. And if you don't distinguish this for your team, they'll set follow-up appointments, they'll show up, and they'll expect the prospect to know what to do. They don't, okay? Listen, An army of deer led by a lion is far more ferocious than an army of lion led by a deer. An army of deer led by a lion is far more ferocious than an army of lion led by a deer. Think about that one. Okay, so you want to follow through, and the way that you do this is, one, never do anything alone. Okay. Now, in the beginning, that's not always possible, but if you don't aim at perfection, you end up getting complacent. Don't make the perfect the enemy of good, but never alone. So let's say this is Davine, and she was in my organization, and she sponsored a girl by the name, I remember, Bonnie, right? Bonnie was up in Seabrook. I knew Davine didn't know how to get Bonnie started, so I treated Bonnie as if I personally sponsored her, and Davine, right, she watched me. And then I did it with a few other people and a few other people, and sooner or later, she picked up the pattern. This is leverage, and what great networkers are is they're great at leverage. So we said you had to have an onboarding system, and there's a video there for the onboarding system. The onboarding system was color code, and folks, don't guess, okay? There'll be a link down there to lazynetworkercolorcode.com. Don't guess at somebody's color. That person could be worth $400,000 or $500,000 a month in volume, or 4 or 5 million a year. And at 5%, that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of commissions, okay? So color code, right? Teach never get off the phone without setting up the next activity, okay? And so color code, never get off the phone without scheduling the next activity, and on that first call, you build the list. You never assign list building. Never assign list building, because they're going to think who would be good, who wouldn't. Just get a big list with them. Never assign, okay? Then at step 3, we're going to work the 3 deep pattern. And this is money, and there's another video about it that goes into more detail, and Davine's going to put a link down there to the 3 deep pattern for you so you can see it. And I know what our statistics show us is 8.5 out of 10 of you that are watching this won't watch that video. So what's really good news is 15% of you will make a ton of money. And the other 85 out of 100 will say, how are they making all that money? They did the work, okay? It's just ridiculous that people don't understand. You know, look at great golfers. Look at Tom Brady, great football player. Huh? Phil Mickelson, great golfer. Those guys practice every day. They do the work. Okay, so the 3D pattern works this way. This is you. This is you. Okay, so you bring in Mo and Larry and Curly Sue. Okay, that was a really bad movie. But anyway, and Mo works the system and brings in a few people, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Okay, you're going to treat Peter, Paul, and Mary as if you personally sponsored them. And what are you going to do with them? Color code, build the list with them, and set a time up when you build the list with them, because you teach them what's the last thing we do before we get off the phone. Then we say schedule the next appointment. You schedule an appointment to do what? Make 3 ways. And who's listening? Mo. And you're duplicating that over here. Now, Paul follows the system, and he sponsors Bob and Ted and Carol and Alice. And you are going to treat those people like you personally sponsored them. And now Mo, just in this line alone, has seen it 7 times. He's starting to pick up the pattern, because what we're trying to do is build teams that build teams, right, without you. And they can't do it if you don't show them. So let me tell you where the big money is here in follow through. Show and tell. What I suggest you do is go to our site and get the 3 deep pattern, or Davine will leave it there for you down below. That's going to tell them what you're going to do. It'll actually walk them through the fact that you're going to duplicate this down line. And sooner or later, a few people will pick it up. The training is going to tell them, you're going to show them hands-on. This is following up. This is following through. This seems slower because you're hearing about Gladys in Memphis who sponsored 19 people this month. I'm telling you, 18 are out of the business the next. Oh, they're just product users. No, they joined to make money, but she didn't work with them, okay? You don't need a lot of people. What you need is something that will tell them, because if Davine or let's say Mo starts using this with Peter, Paul, Mary, Bob, and Ted, and Carol, and Alice, he knows what they heard. They all heard the same thing. 3D pattern, 3D pattern, 3D pattern. And then he's going to show each one of these people. And one of them here and one of them here will pick up the pattern. 1, 2, 3. And now these people become gatekeepers. So when people come in down here, you introduce yourself, but you tell them, call 3 and then me. Call 3 and then me. And what starts to happen is you're forging leadership through the only way possible. Duplication cannot be taught. It's caught, and you catch it hand to hand. This is how you can make a fortune, is follow through. Telling is following up. Showing them hands-on what to do. And what do? Color code, build a list, never get off the phone without scheduling the next appointment. Now you got 3 simple things to do. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you'd like to see in our next 4 to 6 part series. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with your team. I would so appreciate that. It would make me feel valued. So if you've been listening in on calls that talk about empowerment and value, I just told you how to do it. Do it for me, and the universe will conspire to do it for you. Peace out.